Have you ever experienced ecotourism, the tour of the natural environment and the natural creations in the Caribbean? Did you have fun there? But do you know the reality of ecotourism? Do you really know the true face of ecotourism? Yes, it is entertaining and a fantastic sight, but if you know the reality of ecotourism, it is guaranteed that your thoughts will change. Even though ecotourism in the Caribbean have many benefits, the consequences must be addressed because the natural creations in the local environment are being harmed by cruise ships. As ecotourism companies grow, more and more natural creations are getting ignored and destroyed. And ecotourism is and can be a tool for companies.
First, as ecotourism companies grow, more and more natural creations are getting ignored and destroyed. According to the article Politically Correct Tourism, Andrea Cristofani writes, the growth in the number of tourists who visit the trail is impacting local cultures and will change the natural equilibrium of the area. This is telling us that as the number of ecotourists are becoming increased, the natural ecosystem and the natural creations are changed and damaged by the ecotourists, and the companies that support the tour has a part of responsibility too. It is understandable that ecotourism has some good effects of the local economy and nature. Later in the article, Andrea Cristofani writes, some ecotourism companies conduct adventure tours which allow tourists to learn about the local flora, fauna, and historical ruins while ensuring minimal exploitation of the natural resources and supporting the local economy. It is true that ecotourism affects natural environments positively, but this is only partially correct. It says that some ecotourism companies do that, but what about the other ecotourism companies? Are they aware of the effects that they made to natural creations? So, there are good sides and the bad sides of ecotourism. What we think is that the tourists should be aware of the bad sides of ecotourism and know what they are really doing. There might be events where there are large exploitations of the natural creations. Companies might just want the money and do not care about the natural creations that are very valuable.
There are famous ecotourism locations that are protected because they make lots of money, but the unfamous ecotourism locations are unprotected. According to the article, The Caves of Belize, Lisa Mastin writes, but it is clear that he went to great lengths to protect the ones that I toured. The publicly accessible caves, on the other hand, had not fared so well. This is telling that the caves that make money are the ones that the government and the local people protect. Publicly accessible caves are not protected because the caves does not make money so much. Both are natural creations that both need to be protected. This is the same for the other natural creations. Later on the article, Lisa Massey writes, 9 of us at the Adventure Lodge had elected to go on Anderson's most popular cave tour, the River Cave Expedition. None of the looming formations had been smoothed and darkened by a touch of thousands of grasping fingers. Also tells us that the caves that make lots of money are not touched or modified, and is protected. On the other hand, other unfamous caves of the Caribbean are not protected and is modified, and changed in many non-positive ways such as polishing them to make it look nicer than before.
Another harm from ecotourism are cruise ships. Cruise ships are a factor of the demise of the Caribbean due to ecotourism. Cruise ships are leaving behind massive amounts of trash in the water. According to the World Bank, in the Caribbean, the links between tourism and solid wastes are very clear. Tourists in the Caribbean have been estimated to generate twice as much solid waste per capita as local residents. This proves that tourism itself creates more trash than people living there.
And ecotourism is and can be a tool for companies. One of the reasons of ecotourism being a tool for companies is that governments close ecotourism locations. For instance, in the article on the Caves of Belize, Lisa Mastin writes, the Belize government had just shut down the guide operation at the nearby Jaguar Paw Resort, another expatriate-owned outfit that offers tours through some of Belize's most fascinating tourist attraction, its crystal caves. Why did the government close the famous ecotour location? The place makes lots of money, but why did the government close the ecotour location? Let's find out. Later in the article, Lisa Masson writes, Several local operators have complained that the owners at Jaguar Paw were restricting public access to a network of pristine caves situated near their private complex, and things have begun to get violent. Because the owners of Jaguar Paw were restricting public access to the caves, there was violence occurring in the location, and that is why the government had to close Jaguar Paw Resort. But there are still some questions. Was it necessary for the government to close the resort because the owners were doing something that they were not supposed to do? I do not think so. They could just get a new owner to the resort and everything should have been fine. The owners and the government is responsible for this event.
Another reason of ecotourism being a tool for companies is that companies make a lot of money. According to Lisa Masney, the author of The Caves of Belize, she writes, tourist dollars now bring in about $112 million a year, accounting for 1/5 of the GDP and a quarter of total foreign exchange earnings. As you can see, overall tourism and ecotourism in Belize make lots of money, and making more places for ecotourists to visit will increase the amount of money the country earns per year. This is why ecotourism is and can be a tool for companies to make more money. How to be a smart tourist.
Check your tour section and see if it is eco-friendly. Avoid polluting activities. Make sure you don't leave any trash behind. Warn people around you of the harm of ecotourism.
Even though ecotourism in the Caribbean have many pros, the cons of ecotourism outweigh the pros because our natural creations and the environment are being harmed by cruise ships, pollutants, and the ecotourism companies. We believe that the Caribbean should have some limitations to ecotourism and try to protect its natural creation. But if we do not do something about it, and without doubt, the nature will be destroyed completely in the future.